Friend.
I'm ready.
Well, we're live.
Oh, hey. Good morning.
Yeah, baby.
Good morning, Ryan B. How are you?
I'm ready. Oh, you're giving Brian B a personal shout out. So, all right. He's not in the live chat section, but we are Fantasy Focus live show. We're going to be coming at you every Sunday morning throughout the regular season for the 2019 football season. We're about to kick off next Sunday, but we're going here just to answer any last second questions you may have for an upcoming draft and really to discuss some last second moves made yesterday. A lot of moving and shaking. I'm Derek Tate alongside Ryan Levy and Matt Bucks. Guys, kind of the biggest news, I think, the Bills, they let go of Lesean McCoy, even though it seemed like all offseason they were pretty much sticking to their guns. Shady's going to be our guy. He's going to be a part of our team for the 2019 season. And then, boom, roster cuts come up. And, Bucky, you're the resident Bills expert. What happened here, and what is his value now that he is a member of the Kansas City Chiefs? He signed a one-year deal, $4 million, $3 million guaranteed.
So to me, this was pretty simple. This was Bean, McDermott, the GM head coach combination, buying some time to see if Devin Singletary could do the pass pro and make sure that he can also catch out of the backfield, right? Those were two things he wasn't asked to do much at Florida Atlantic. They saw enough running, but they needed to make sure that he had those phases of his game ironed out. And, you know, we save, I think, $4.5 million on the cap, something like that. Tate, you're the numbers guy. I'm just here drinking a Miller Lite. Upgrade from Busch Light, though, for all the listeners out there. So we're upgrading all facets of my life, mostly in beer selection, just like the Bills. Little upgrade here. I am very excited to see what Devin Singletary can do. And I think Frank Gore is the perfect kind of tutor for him to kind of get him in that professional mindset, you know, South Florida guys. I think it's going to be a very good marriage there. You know, it's kind of like twins. You got DeVito, Schwarzenegger, you know, cyborg with Frank Gore teaching young Devin Singletary short, diminutive in nature, just like Danny DeVito. And Lesean McCoy to the Chiefs is quite perplexing to me. It makes sense because of the Andy Reid connection, but I don't really know how much gas he has left in the tank. He's going to have a few games, though, that he blows up if he really does step into this offense and he has a role.
Levy, what does this do to Damian Williams? I mean, Williams has been kind of firmly planted in, the mid-second round? I've even seen him go at the end of first in some fantasy drafts. He's been a kind of a polarizing player. I mean, we've seen him miss some time earlier in the preseason with a hamstring injury. There was a little bit of a push for Carlos Hyde. Then Hyde fell out of favor. Now he's over in Houston. We'll get to him in a second. But what does this do to this situation now over there in Kansas City? Because you have a veteran who's coming off of the worst year of his career in Lesean McCoy, and Damian Williams, who was red hot towards the end of last year. But I don't know if this coaching staff is really committed to him and given him their vote of confidence heading into this season. And his ADP is very high to invest in a second round. You mean you're basically banking on him to be the guy if you're taking him at that point?
Yeah, I think it's pretty brutal in terms of the situation. I've got 2 drafts today. I am completely avoiding the Kansas City backfield like the plague. I mean, I think it hurts Darwin Thompson more than anything. Darwin Thompson was a guy that was flying up the draft board, and you know now he's probably undraftable at this point. I mean, I don't want any piece of him with this 3-headed monster. I think it's going to be a true running back by committee. So, I mean, for Damian Williams, who's going at the end of the second round, I don't want any part of that. There's just no chance. And in terms of Shady McCoy, I don't know how much he has left in the tank either, right? It's just I'm not going to spend a draft pick on him by any means.
That's
Maybe
the concern. The concern is the level of gas in the tank here.
Yeah,
because you can't loaf the ball like this, dancing around, holding it out there like it's a big gulp from 7-Eleven, the way that he does well into your 30s. It's dangerous. It's just dangerous.
So what's tricky, though, is, he posted horrible numbers last year, but you look at the Bills' offense. Their offensive line had a bunch of issues. You had a rookie quarterback under center for the most part in Josh Allen, who was, pretty raw coming out of college. So, it's not like we had a finished product or anything of that nature. So, he almost ran the ball more than for what he threw in his rookie season. So there was a lot of issues with that Buffalo Bills team, but now you're in what is arguably the best situation in all of the NFL at the running back spot, in an offense that could lead the league in pretty much every offensive category there in Kansas City. So there's a lot of potential. It just makes me nervous because even when Shady was healthy last year, he didn't look like he had the same burst, guys. And if you take away speed from a guy who's traditionally known as a speed running back, and his best days were in space, his elusiveness was what made him special. Once you lose that, you're not Adrian Peterson. You're not grinding out 3 to 5 yards between the tackles. I mean, once your speed goes, it's like a speed receiver. That's what scares me about Shady, but there will be more room to run. He'll be more efficient. I just don't expect him to be the bell cow, which I do drop Damian Williams to around the 4th or 5th round as far as ADP goes. McCoy, I'm willing to take a stab at him somewhere around the middle rounds as well, 5 to 7, because the upside is certainly there. The upside is there, guys. I mean,
for the offense, yes, but I just have concerns about McCoy after last year.
Oh, hell yeah, I do. I'm not saying, and that's why, I mean, if we were talking about Shady from even 2 or 3 years ago, and he goes to this Kansas City offense, he'd be a bona fide 1st or 2nd rounder. But his concerns from what we saw on tape last year is what makes me stay the hell away from him in those early rounds. But he's still worth a flyer to me.
That's true. And for me, I'm still staying away. I would say I would feel comfortable with Lesean McCoy after the 8th round. And here's a better question, in my opinion. Who do you like? Do you prefer Devin Singletary and the upside there, or do you prefer Lesean McCoy headed to Kansas City to play in a three-headed monster there?
Singletary all day for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Tate, you can't use the word flyer in rounds 5 to 7 in the same sentence.
I understand that. I agree.
Those are the potato skins that hold the baked potato together. Right? It's not the fixins. It's not the accoutrement. It's the skin. Is 5 to 7.
My apologies. I'm saying that I'll take a share of him.
There we go.
Right around the middle round.
I think they're going to find ways to get him the ball. I certainly think they're going to find ways to get him in space. This backfield's a mess.
Bucky, it's when you're ordering like a meal at a restaurant like that. It's an integral part of your meal. If somewhere a 5th to 7th round draft pick, like that's one of the sides. That's not the
it's not
entree,
the broccoli. It's not broccoli though. It's like it's got to be potatoes. It's not the broccoli. We got another question. I like this from Ryan B. Who wins this trade? So this is 4 for 4. 4 players for 4 players. Kittle, Singletary, T.Y. Hilton, Joe Mixon. I mean, that's pretty good set of players right there. For Michael Thomas, Phil Lindsay, Hunter Henry, Miles Sanders. I think the top portion there, the first, Kittle, Singletary, Hilton, Nixon is a much better set of players.
Yeah, I agree.
Me too.
I agree.
100%. Chris Cox, what up? You guys are joining us on YouTube. Thanks for joining us again. Excited. We're back. Brought to you by the Original Hooters, this live show, guys. We're going to have this every Sunday coming at you. Now, we did mention a guy that was part of this Kansas City backfield and a ton of moves made down in Texas by Houston. The Houston Texans bringing in Laramie Tunzel, Kenny Stills, but notably for fantasy purposes, Carlos Hyde. Now they finally looks as if they have kind of their group of running backs heading into the 2019 season, trying to replace maybe Lamar Miller to go alongside Duke Johnson. So Levy, you mentioned, like I said, I would take Duke Johnson in the 5th round as the roster was at that moment, how the roster was constituted. Now they added Carlos Hyde. So what do you make of this? Who is the back to own there, Levy, in Houston? Is it Carlos Hyde or is it Duke Johnson?
I mean, it's got to be Carlos Hyde. You know I'm not a Duke Johnson believer. I told you guys there was no chance I was drafting him in the 5th to 8th round, Duke Johnson. I think he's going to have a good part in this offense or a good role in this offense. It's just, I mean, I'm not rushing out to get Carlos Hyde in the 6th round by any means. I mean, he's, a decent veteran at this point of his career, and he's going to – I feel like he's going to fit in well where Lamar Miller was last year. He's going to be okay. He's like a running back 3 or a flex option. I don't think there's much upside there.
I'd like to think that there is a bit of upside there in this Houston offense. I mean, especially considering they just added Laramie Tunsil to the mix as well. Their offensive line just got a hell of a lot stronger. So I am intrigued by Carlos Hyde. I love his skill set. He's never going to flash at you. You're not going to, you're not running down to the Christmas tree on Christmas morning and like celebrating the fact that you're picking up Carlos Hyde. Like it's not an N64 circa 1996, but it is a good value proposition, in my opinion, to pick up a guy like Carlos Hyde.
So isn't that the same thing as, on Christmas morning, you're not excited about Lamar Miller either?
I kind of am, man. I was excited. I'm excited about the prospect of this offense. And I think adding Tunsil is pretty big.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great move for them.
They gave up a lot. Well, you say a great move. They gave up a hell of a lot to get him. They gave up a 2020 and a 2021 first. That's a hefty price tag.
They want to win now. They want to win right now, and they're paying for it. And, of course, it is a hefty price tag. When you look at the way the Dolphins are stacked up, it reminds me of how the Bills had it last year. Stacked up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, I believe, next year. So they're doing good things for the future. I like Houston's offense quite a bit.
So I'll ask you this then. I'll kind of put you guys, where would you be comfortable taking these guys then? Where would you be comfortable taking Carlos Hyde? And look, I still think Duke Johnson has value in a PPR.
Yeah, he does. You
could say you don't like him or whatever, or you're not excited about him, but I still think Duke Johnson, even when Cleveland was an absolute dumpster fire, proved that he can be a nice piece. And this is by far the best situation he's ever been in his entire career. And I'm not 100% sold that Carlos Hyde is going to be the bell cow, but I'll throw it to you first, guys. Levy, where do you like both of these guys? What round are you willing to take them?
I'll take them both like in 8 to 10. Either of them.
You're not going to sniff getting. I mean, one of those two guys is going to go off the board. Maybe the other one falls to 8 to 10, but somebody's going to produce out of this backfield.
Well,
there's way more upside than an 8th round pick here.
They won't be on my team.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm not going to invest heavily like a 6th round pick in these guys.
I would invest a 6th round pick. I would invest a 6th or a 7th round pick in either of these running backs. There's upside to be had in this Houston offense. I think their offensive line got considerably better from last year, which is not saying much because they were pretty putrid last year, but they did get better. They added some beef up front. Tunsil definitely will help out. I just think you guys are sleeping on the upside. I mean, everybody wants to talk about how much upside there is in the Kansas City offense. What's not to love about Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, and the rest of the boys? And now you got some beef up front. There's production to be had, and Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson can both play.
Dirty Will Fuller and the boys.
Will Fuller and the boys.
Hey, we didn't even mention Kenny Still too.
Everywhere you look.
Yeah, Kenny Stills.
Kenny Stills now. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Houston all of a sudden.
Yeah, there sure are. And the thing is, Duke Johnson, he's going at the very front end of the 5th round right now in a PPR.
That's way too early.
It's very early. It is very early. We do have another question here. This is from Jonahan and Goma. I hope I pronounced that right. I think that might be a Jonathan. Let me know in there, John. We'll just call you John. Would y'all trade Latavius Murray for Lesean McCoy? My answer succinctly is no. I think that the 2 running back set that they have in New Orleans has worked for years. Lat Murray is a productive player. He will have a role there. And there's far too much uncertainty for me with Lesean McCoy. I am certain that Latavius Murray is going to have a defined role and get some goal line carries there.
It depends on what you want. If you want upside, I think you pull the trigger and you bring on Lesean McCoy. If you want someone that you feel comfortable in their role, I think it is Latavius Murray. So it just depends on whatever you want as far as your roster buildup. It's kind of it's a good question. It's right around that same area for those 2 players.
Yeah, I agree. I think the upside's higher with Shady McCoy, but I would personally lean Lat Murray.
All right, and we from Rye 123 ism already asked. We kind of answered this, but we'll touch on it again. What is the value of Lesean McCoy and around which round? We were kind of saying somewhere around the middle rounds, somewhere. What you guys said, 8th? You said that's where you guys felt comfortable taking him.
8th or deeper,
yeah,
preferably
8th and beyond.
Round, yeah.
8th and beyond.
Yeah, bed, bath, 8th and beyond.
I got 2 drafts today, so I'm eager to see where these guys fall.
Like I said, I'm more a little bit more bullish on the upside. I'm going to go ahead and say 6th or 7th round is somewhere I'd be willing to take a chance on these guys. B, we've got our boy B. Yeah,
not the original. We're still looking for A, but we got the second YouTube commenter B. back in action this year. Good to have you back, B.
Wants to have some insight. He's calling a shot with Darwin Thompson. He still feels like he's going to be involved in this offense towards the end of the year. Look, if the Shady McCoy experiment doesn't work out, you guys, Levy, you already said it. You liked what you saw from Darwin Thompson and what he was his role going to be in this offense. I mean, do you think that he still finds a way to get on the field towards the end of the year, or do you think he's just going to have to potentially wait until the situation thins out?
Yeah, I mean, if I've got Darwin Thompson now, I probably invested a 10th to 12th round draft pick on him. I'm not going to go drop him. I'm going to stash him on my bench. I don't think he's going to get you any value to start the season, but I just had this weird feeling the Shady McCoy experiment's not going to work out. He's either going to get hurt, he's going to get cut, something's going to happen. I just don't get the warm and fuzzies about it. Or maybe just Damian Williams is going to get hurt. Something's going to happen here, and I do agree that Darwin Thompson towards the end of the year is going to have value.
This sounds like some dark prophet type of shit. You know, it's like something bad's going to happen to that backfield in Kansas City. Mark it down. Ryan Levy hath proclaimed.
You can never have too many running backs on your roster. We know that from fantasy.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, Shady just muddles it so much.
He really does. It's just a weird move, man.
Well, first, it's a big name. It's not like they picked up Mike Davis, right? And it's Lesean McCoy, and everybody immediately has flashbacks to his most productive years in Buffalo just, 3-4 years ago. And it stands out like very prominently, right, in your memories of what this guy can do. He's 31 years old. He doesn't have the same juice in the tank. And regardless of his previous, playing for Andy Reid in Philly, I just don't see him being a major factor.
He almost posted career lows in every single major category on the ground. There's nothing. I mean, there was nothing that he showed us last year to get excited about. But the situation does completely change, and if he's fully healthy, he's worth a look. So we have another question. This one about Emmanuel Sanders. Do you like him this year over Will Fuller and Kenny Stills or even Dante Pettis? My answer is hell yes. I mean, the only reason why Sanders' value was even remotely sniffing around the 9th, 10th round was because he was coming off an Achilles injury. He's already been on the field this preseason and looked pretty damn good with the snaps that we saw him. So he's the only reliable veteran pass-catching presence in that offense at this current moment. Yes, Emmanuel Sanders over every single one of those guys just named.
I agree, 100%.
Oh, E. Sanders. Every year, continuously slept on.
All right, we got another question from B. Does Kiki Cutie have any value left? Look, them bringing on Kenny Stills to me doesn't exactly impact Kiki Cutie because Kiki does most of his work out of the slotty. So I'm going with Kiki Cutie still having some sort of value in PPR formats. I mean, he just can't stay healthy right now.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing with Kiki, but he's still worth rostering to see what his role, to see if he's able to stay healthy. And if he does, I think he's going to have a nice weekly floor in what should be a productive offense.
This offense is loaded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's extremely loaded. And QT, I do have concerns, mostly injury riddled, but it's one of those things like if I'm drafting and I got to pick up Kiki QT as my wide receiver 3 or 4, I'm not feeling too hot about it right now. I'm not.
I want him as my wide receiver 6.
Jesus, I don't want 6 receivers ever.
Hey, Bucky, we're getting a shout out for you, though.
Yeah, I shouted him back out. Yeah.
First person to ever get the last name right on the first try. Good job, Buck.
Ngoma. That's I watch tons of soccer, so I know how to do the N's and the D's. Shout out Tanguy and Ndombele for Tottenham Hotspur. He's hurt, not playing in the North London Derby here in an hour, but yeah, so I've learned Ngoma. Yeah, that's my guy. And you got to go with the hard O.
Don't throw this name at Levy, though, because he'll definitely butcher it.
Oh, yeah, please. Don't even attempt it. Never attempt it, Levy.
Levy's not allowed to try.
You bring down our credibility by the millisecond when you try things like
that. Gamer Pro, OMG, Bills, Chiefs, Texans, Chargers, and Dolphins backfield. 5 backfields that should not be touched in the first 4 rounds. Do you guys agree with that statement?
Yes. Yeah, actually, I do. I like Gamer Pro OMG, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not picking up any of these guys in the first 4 rounds. I'm just not. I mean, you think about all the firepower there for the Chargers, and even if you do secure Melvin Gordon Is he reported back? I've been on pure
No.
soccer band. Yeah. So tons of question marks there. Is he going to be the Lev Bell this year? That's incredible.
Well, the latest news that I heard yesterday, they told him he could explore a trade.
Yeah, that's really nice of them to do once everybody has already made all their roster moves. What a dick move by the Chargers.
I'll take Eckler in the 5th round, though.
I'll take Eckler in the 4th. I mean, doesn't he have standalone? He proved last year he has standalone value, right? Even Melvin Gordon, they didn't add any running back of significance. So if Eckler has upside, but still has the safety floor of a high floor, even with and standalone value, even if Melvin Gordon, if and when he does come back, that's worth a 4th rounder to me, Gamer Pro. OMG. I don't know if to say, oh my God, Gamer Pro, oh my God. But
Ryan B, Ryan B, we're taking the Kittle side of that trade. You must have missed us earlier, but
yeah, the top portion is a lot sexier. Looks like Alessandro Ambrosio.
Yeah, there's way too much unknown with the other side with Thomas, Lindsey Hunter, and Miles. What do you got? I mean, what about Miles? I mean, I don't want to touch too much on it, but Miles Sanders and that Philadelphia backfield, that's another backfield that I'm not touching. Speaking of ones that I'm not even going anywhere near in the first 4 rounds. By the way, we never talked about, I know I feel like I'm scatterbrained. I'm going everywhere here. But Devin Singletary, we never nailed down. When would you guys want to target Devin Singletary? I mean, he's still got, like you mentioned, that there's still Frank Gore in town, along with TJ Yeldon. But where is Singletary? Where should he go, Bucks?
For me, I'm willing to take a shot at him early 6th round. He'll be my RB3.
Yeah, I was going to say RB3.
RB2 upside.
RB3, so like round 7 for me probably, but yeah, I mean, I don't think the 6 is a stretch. The thing that holds me back from taking him in the 5th round is the Cyborg, because the Cyborg's getting a minimum 100 carries this year.
The problem with the Cyborg is he's so fundamentally sound, and he does all the little pieces of the game that a lot of young running backs have a hard time picking up. That's the issue with Frank Gore. I mean, you saw it last year, the last couple of years. You saw it in Indy, you saw it in Miami. I mean, he's going to chip away because he doesn't really make mistakes. He's a heady player. He's solid. He's built like a brick shithouse cyborg. It's tough to bring the man down. And yeah, of course, Frank Gore is a concern. But like I said, I like to think of this as twins with Schwarzenegger and DeVito. I did mention that earlier. I'm going to go back to the well, and I'll never stop going back to that well. Little buddy DeVito, Singletary.
I'd be okay with Singletary in the 5th. That'd be where I would target him. I'm every time I've seen him on the field, he's flashed, Bucks. Every time he touches the ball, he looks like he's got juice. Every single time he slips tackles, his balance through contact is fantastic. Good vision. But we saw that with even Marlon Mack. Frank Gore kept Marlon Mack off the field his rookie year. If you guys remember that. That was 2017 when Luck missed the entire season, and Mack clearly looked like the more explosive player, but Frankie Gore, just like you said, he does everything so damn well as far as pass protection and doing everything that a veteran knows what to do to stay on the field. That's the only thing that makes me not bump Singletary as far as a pure rushing prospect into the 3rd or 4th round. That's how high I am on him.
Real quick, will you guys draft or pick up Frank Gore if you've already drafted, like last round or waiver wire?
No, not until we know what to expect out of the offense touch-wise. It's not that I don't think you can put him on your roster. Of course I do. I love Frank Gore. He's a cyborg, one of my inspirations every day, especially now as a Buffalo Bill. But my big question is, how much work does he really see?
Bucky, I got an over-under for you.
Okay. Yes.
Over-under.
$50.
Oh, no. Well, it depends. Let's see how you feel about this number. I'm going to throw this out.
I don't need to know. $50. Whatever I say, it's $50 bet between you and I.
Put 50 bones on it.
All right, I'm gonna be conservative with my number then.
Yeah, but see, you don't have your whiteboard up yet. You need your whiteboard to keep track of all of our side bets throughout this live show.
I still have everything written down on it. Don't you worry. It's wrapped in cellophane, so it's all preserved.
What are our side bets as of right now?
I can't really see them. I'll have to report back.
Oh, Rashad Hollywood Higgins between me and Bucky. Bucky said he's catching 50 balls this year.
Yeah, that's a good bet. I'm gonna win every one of these sons of
I know Bucky and I have one on Mahomes. It's like 42.5 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is 42.5.
I'll take the over, but here it is. Frank Gore rushing yards this year, 564.5.
Under.
I kind of want to take the over. He's like a 600-yard guy.
No, 564.5. He's gonna end up right there, 561.2. I've already done the numbers. That's how quick the brain works.
I'm not betting.
Oh man, that's a tough number.
No, it's $50.
Nope.
It's a gentleman's agreement. People are watching this.
You can't throw the over-under out there and not even have a little bit of action here. Come on.
I'm not betting on that one. No.
Oh, that's lame.
I'll do that. I'll have that one with the higher power then.
What's the world coming to? Levy's gone soft now that he's gone over to the West Coast. Not even willing to put a $50 bet on something.
I'll find a bookie. Yeah.
All right. So to kind of get some other questions, did we already? So, by the way, to Green, I'd have to cut Pettis or Fuller. If we're talking about AJ Green, hell yes, I cut either of those guys to stash AJ Green for the first month of the season. Even if he misses the 4 games, he is still a wide receiver 1 once he comes back. I'm absolutely cutting bait with either of those guys.
I agree.
Yeah, he was saying he thinks he's going to get cut, though. I don't think AJ Green's getting cut by any means. Unless you're talking about cut from a fantasy roster.
Yeah, he's talking about fantasy cuts.
Yeah, he's definitely rosterable. I would roster him, but I'm not rushing out to draft him. But I mean, he keeps falling.
He's definitely rosterable though. I expect him back by October.
Yeah, I mean, even worst case scenario, if he misses the entire month and doesn't come back until October, that's still a wide receiver 1 on your team, and you know that once he comes back fully healthy. It's just, can he stay healthy? He's had some issues over the last couple of years. B, will the Jaguars still have a stadium after Hurricane Dorian passes? I don't know. I mean, that's yes.
Yes, we have to say yes because we are very optimistic people, and nobody can project these things. I having been there, watched the Bills get their ass kicked by Blake Bortles running for 80 yards in the playoffs. I'm going to say personally, it wouldn't be a bad thing as long as nobody was around the area to just blow it away. That'd be okay. That'd be fine with me. But I'm not endorsing it because I want everything to remain intact there in Jacksonville.
Well, they had to move the game between the Florida State Seminoles and Boise State, which was a neutral site game for Boise State, who's on the other side of the country, when Florida State was only 2-hour drive down I-10. Or no, I-90. Wait, what's the – I don't know. Whatever road. It's like –
It's I-10. I-10.
It is I-10. Okay,
this is for your purposes and your purposes only, okay? So east and west highways – are always ending in an even digit.
Numbers, yes.
Okay.
And I-95 is going north, 75 going north.
Yes.
I didn't know that, actually.
No, see, I'm here to educate. I'm not only here to bring the fantasy knowledge, I'm here to bring general knowledge for all of you out there.
My first inclination was I-10, though, and I was right. And
it was I-10. But we don't talk college football on this show.
Yes, correct. But as far as the Jaguars, we hope everybody's going to be okay with Hurricane Dorian in all seriousness. So, just thoughts and prayers out there to everybody. B, respect to Bucky, though, for crushing Miller lattes at 10:30 a.m.
It's not North London Derby Day today, I don't know. But
ooh, that's a nice shirt.
Yeah, it's holographic. It's really cool. But it's Spurs time, so I would have been drinking these anyways, and they help with my creative process.
Damn.
So I'm gonna continue drinking these cold ones for you guys out there. So respect to you, B, for respecting me.
How about these shirts? How about these shirts, bud?
That shirt looks good on you, Tate.
Oh yeah, I mean,
where's my shirt?
You'll get yours this weekend, Bucky. I'll see you in Chicago.
Oh, that's right. Plug it. Where are we at?
We will be at the Wells Street Hooters in Chicago at 10 a.m. Central, 10 to 12, and then Bucky and I are going to stay there and crush some Miller lattes and wingy all day long to watch football. I think that's the plan, right, Buck?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good one. So same thing, answering your questions. If you are in the Chicago area, I know we have some friends coming out, but if you will be in Chicago, we will be there 10 Central answering questions live there in the store. And we'll also be doing this live stream as well. So nothing changes. Tate will be in his beautiful mansion
Yes.
This hurts
I'm
my
excited.
soul. This hurts my soul. Levy, I don't blame you for grinning and laughing because it's true. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in Cadillac, Michigan, boys. This is what I have to do. Damn
Do they have a
There's
Hooters
no
in Michigan?
within sight. Shit. This is awful. Yeah, I'm definitely jealous, boys. But I know you guys will represent and crush plenty of wingy and beer, courtesy of the original Hooters.
Ryan B., you've asked the question like 4 times now. And we've answered it all 4 times. So I'm going to spell it out for you. Ryan B., this is what we need. Kittle, Singletary, Hilton, Mixon is a better stack of players.
I agree.
Michael Thomas, Phil Lindsay, Hunter Henry, and Miles Sanders. We have defined roles here. We know Joe Mixon. We know T.Y. Hilton. And T.Y. Hilton works well with Jacoby Brissett. He's the only quarterback on their roster right now, which is just very bizarre. I believe that's the case. George Kittle is pretty much in contention to be the top tight end in the league this year. Tate would argue me tooth and nail over that, but I love Kittle. And Singletary has, in my opinion, higher upside this year than Miles Sanders, and maybe even going forward. So the top line is the significant choice or the better choice between those two by a significant margin, in my opinion.
I agree.
Really, it's Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is the only player on the other side that gets me super excited because he may be arguably the best player in this entire group of players mentioned as far as fantasy value goes. But Kittle's better than Henry. Singletary is better than Miles Sanders, in my opinion, for this year. Hilton is definitely less than Michael Thomas, but then Mixon's better than Lindsay. So 3 out of the 4, it's definitely, I think it's a slam dunk for the Kittle, Singletary, Hilton, Mixon side.
Is that Cristiano Ronaldo?
Right? It is.
Portugal?
Definitely Cristiano.
Cristiano.
Throwing down an extra I there. I gotta get some coffee.
Say Cristiano 5 times quick.
All right, I went live on the IG as well, so you're about to get peppered with questions. Hope you're ready, Bucky.
I'm always ready. Go.
Who do you like better though, long term, Singletary or Miles Sanders? That's a tough one.
Probably Singletary because of the offense he's in. It's more of a one-back defined role as opposed to Doug Peterson in Philadelphia. Loves rotating a stable of backs. So I think Miles Sanders is the better talent. However, I don't want to sleep on Devin Singletary's talent. I'm just more intrigued by the fact that, number one, Bills' offense is a running offense, so they're going to continue to run that smash mouth football. Singletary proved he's a patient runner, one-cut runner. When he finds his hole, he hits it like shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
I really like what I see on film from Singletary in the preseason. And I look for us to really ride him as the horse. I mean, you cut a guy like Lesean McCoy, and the Bills brass is hanging their hats on Devin Singletary. Miles Sanders at this point is a piece. He's a very significant piece, but he's still just a piece in an overall bigger puzzle. And all that we have to worry about in Buffalo is Frank Gore, who's 36 years old. So Devin Singletary.
So if we're talking about
long-term, Tater.
Long-term, if we're talking dynasty value, I still think it's Devin Singletary. And nothing against Miles Sanders, who is a better athlete. He pops a little bit more as far as his explosiveness on tape. Like, he's faster, and I think he's got a better first step than Devin Singletary. But as far as playing the position of running back and natural instincts and balance through contact, I think that's Devin Singletary in a landslide. This guy reminds me a hell of a lot of Kareem Hunt. Like, yeah, he doesn't do anything to wow you as far as his pure athleticism, but the boy can just ball, man. He's a hell of a player in between the tackles. They called the man Motor down there at Florida Atlantic because the man can drive your team throughout an entire game. I love Devin Singletary. It's nothing against Miles Sanders. In fact, there's a lot of other things that are better as far as long-term prospects. There's a much better offensive line there in Philadelphia than there is in Buffalo. And there's a much better, I don't want to go much better, but I think Carson Wentz is a much better quarterback right now than Josh Allen is.
Yes, 100%.
So, but who knows what Josh Allen will turn into? We'll have to wait and see how he develops. But if you're asking me who I think the better player is, it's Devin Singletary.
All right. I got some more questions for you boys here. On Instagram, Spinals26, Cook, Mixon, or Chubb this year in a dynasty?
Chubb, best offense in the group. But Cook, that's really tough.
That's a tough one.
It's either Cook or Chubb, and it's kind of pick your poison. I think Chubb has shown maybe he's a little bit more durable, so that's why I lean towards Chubb. And also, I don't think we've seen them at peak performance on the field in Cleveland. And I think that's intriguing to us, right? Like all these different new play toys that we're throwing out there. Well, good old Kitchens is getting all up in other people's kitchens trying to win some damn ball games.
Chubb's creeping into the first round in redraft formats right now.
I like Chubb. I like him.
I know Tate's going to say Cook here. I'm going slightly Chubb over Cook, but I love all three of these players. Tate, what about you?
So we're talking Cook, Mixon, Chubb in a dynasty, right?
Dynasty.
So dynasty format strictly. I mean, it is tricky because I actually think Joe Mixon's the best player of all three of these guys, but I think he's in probably the worst situation as far as the a pretty suspect offensive line. They even drafted a guy in the first round that got injured in Jonah Williams. And they don't have A.J. Green, which Andy Dalton significantly struggles when A.J. Green is not healthy. Plus, A.J. Green is 31, so long-term, I mean, we've seen the best days of A.J. Green. They're likely behind him. So if I'm choosing between Cook and Mixon, Cook and Chubb, I'm going to go Chubb because I don't think Kareem Hunt is going to be there long-term. I think that this is a pit stop for Kareem Hunt, and then he's eventually going to move on to another team, backfield. And if Chubb is the bell cow back with Baker Mayfield under center, all they got to do is just improve that offensive line up front. They've already got a defense that scares the living bejesus out of me going forward. So it's Nick Chubb.
So we all agree on that one. I'm surprised with that crop of players.
Cook just can't stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. And they drafted Alexander Madison, who is a battering ram, which I think will eat into – he's going to have a role in this offense.
Yeah.
After seeing Boise State and the way they have running back talent there and how they're coached to hit holes, they're impressive. I mean, you think about like Doug Martin came out, Jay Ajayi, and now Madison, and they have two guys that played against Florida State yesterday that I think are going to make the league. Like they're a running back warehouse. It's not the men's warehouse. It's the running back warehouse. Just got to get to Boise. That's it.
Let's not talk about Florida State this morning. It's still a
Robert Mahone.
Yeah, Mahone.
Mahone looked pretty good.
I like the freshman better. I like their freshman. I think his name was like Morier or something like that. He's sweet.
All right, I got a couple more here. We got thoughts on Will Fuller from Miguel on Instagram. Thanks for joining us. I personally am probably going to stay away at this point. I mean, maybe he's like my wide receiver 4, but there's just a lot of weapons in that offense. What do you guys think?
Okay. Will Fuller, as long as he's healthy, the man has proven that he is a productive wide receiver and plays very well opposite of DeAndre Hopkins. He wins one-on-one matches, and the guy has long speed. The only thing that makes me nervous is coming off of a ACL injury. I mean, and he's a speed receiver. We don't know if he's going to be fully back up to speed until we see him on the football field, which means it's hard to invest heavily in Will Fuller. But certainly, is he worth a roster spot? Hell yeah. And he's worth a start as your flex or a wide receiver, low-end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type of league. And I like him more in standard than I do in PPR because he's not going to see the volume, but boy, he can pop at any time a long touchdown.
Great best ball player too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, good best ball for sure. If it's best ball format, Will Fuller might be one of the best rostered players you have.
All right, Danny Messi. That's a soccer player, right?
Lionel Messi is, but Danny Messi was with us last year quite a bit. Good to see you back, Danny.
What's up, Danny? What tight end to get in free agency after Ebron stuff? Burton, Andrews, Olsen, Hooper, Reed.
Andrews or Hooper?
Hooper's not a free agent in most cases, right?
Yeah, doubtful. But I would say Mark Andrews is going very criminally underrated, and he is a beast. And the funny part about Mark Andrews is he had to go in there and compete against 2 other top 3 round pick guys in Max Williams and Hayden Hurst, and just stuffed him in a locker. Like Mark Andrews doesn't play no games.
Right.
So Mark Andrews, to me, is one of the most perplexing cases because he shouldn't really be going undrafted, but he is. So for me, it's Mark Andrews because the guy has busted his ass and he's a good player, man. And they love leaning on a tight end. I'm sure Lamar Jackson will have to do that because he can't see anybody else.
I kind of like all these guys, but I'm pretty high on Andrews too. I would actually draft him as, late in drafts, probably as my tight end too. But I've got him on a couple of rosters already.
Who did you mention as the other options? You said Andrew, Burton,
Olsen, Hooper, and Reed.
Reed is dead.
Olsen. Yeah. What about Greg Olsen?
I think that's what I'm saying. I kind of like all these guys.
Why would we not? Why would we? I mean, don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with Mark Andrews, Bucky. I like Mark Andrews. I just don't trust Lamar Jackson.
Good day.
So, I mean, that's the tricky thing is there any Ravens pass catcher at wide receiver or tight end that's going to finish in the top 15 at their position? Maybe Mark Andrews slips in there at tight end.
Maybe.
But I don't even feel confident about that.
That's fair.
Greg Olsen's that steady figure when he's healthy, even though like last year was kind of an anomaly. When he went on the field, he wasn't even that good. But I still believe in Greg Olsen over the lot that you mentioned.
I mean, you could make a case for any of these guys, though. I mean, we talk about Burton, earlier in the offseason, and we thought he was, poo last year, but he had career highs and everything.
I mean, I didn't think he was all terrible. I mean, yeah, he wasn't what everybody expected as far as the hype goes, and he definitely had games where he just completely disappeared, but he wasn't a scrub by any stretch. So, and I like that Bears offense moving forward. So
hey, don't sleep on old William Snead the fourth. There,
Willie Snead.
Yeah. Well,
Levy, what else do we got on Instagram? On the
we got
the IG.
Shout out to Cecilia, happy birthday!
Hey Cecilia, happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Cecilia!
From the Fantasy Focus crew, happy birthday! We got a question here on Lev Bell. Thoughts on Lev Bell in general with on a new team, new offensive line?
Love it. Fine with it. Feed the man the rock. Sam Darnold, check down master. Hit me. Yep.
Lev Bell thinks he's going to be the best running back in fantasy football again, and I love the confidence. So I mean, he's going to the latter half of the first round. I'll take him there all day. I think some people are down on him, and I don't necessarily know why. Maybe because he took a year off football, sure, but
that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Fresh legs, though. I'll take the fresh legs. I'm not concerned about him not getting hit.
You don't just take a year off of professional football, and it's not like the guy was in tip-top shape. The dude looked like he was about to sink a jet ski when he was down there in Miami. So
he's a generational talent. He can do what he wants.
He's a hell of a football player. I'm not knocking him for that. And I think it was a little overblown how out of shape and overweight he was. But we still don't know exactly what we're getting with the New York Jets. Yeah, Darnold had a nice preseason. And he should be the feature player in this offense. But he took a year off of football. I mean, that hasn't worked out well for anybody else that decided to take a year off of football.
Who's done that? But who's done that?
Marshawn Lynch.
But it happens all the time in terms of injuries, Tate. Like, guys take a year off of football. It's just they get injured. They don't choose to not collect their paycheck and show up to work.
True.
Like, it's a little bit different. And I actually think it encourages performance because at this point, he probably poured so much money into that shitty rap album that he made that he's got to recoup some of those funds, man. He's in the booth just spitting out garbage lyrics on the field, trying to make a deal, and he finally made a deal.
I mean, he really needs to connect with Joe Pesci and learn how to make a proper rap album. It's the bitches that'll get you.
Oh, at times.
We need a Lev Bell, Joe Pesci collaboration album.
I say a rap battle.
I'm gonna get the movement started. I'm gonna go to petition.org, get a new petition going. All we got to get is like 100,000 signatures. It should be pretty simple. But folks, boots on the ground, I'm gonna need your help as well.
Yes. All right. From Spinals here, Bucky's on Miller Latte number 3, pre-gaming for Talking Tottenham.
Yeah. Yep. That's gonna be yeah, well, pre-gaming for the match. Hopefully it's a happy buck come recording Talking Tottenham at 2 p.m.
Oh, man.
Could be anything.
The last episode was great, man. I enjoyed that on my road trip. But next question. What do you guys think of the backfield in Chicago? I'm wearing a Chicago t-shirt right now. Who's going to be the lead back? Tater, you first on this one.
David Montgomery. Eventually. I'd say by week 4, he'll be 100% slated as the back that sees the most touches on a weekly basis in this backfield. He fits this offense much better than Jordan Howard ever did. Mike Davis will be involved early. That's the thing. He's going to get off. I think he's going to get off to a slow start. And people that are taking him all the way in the third round, that is a hefty price tag to pay for David Montgomery with a pass-catching specialist and one of the better weapons out of the backfield in the NFL with Tariq Cohen. And then, of course, a veteran presence in Mike Davis, who had a pretty solid year last year with the Seattle Seahawks. So I think Montgomery's going to get off to a slow start, but he is the running back to own in this backfield.
So are you paying that third-round price tag for him, though?
Probably not.
I'm not either.
I'd say fourth, fifth round is where I feel much more comfortable. I do think the upside will be there, but again, you don't know what you're investing in. You don't know what the volume is going to be. It's conceivable that this man doesn't see 10 plus touches for the first 3 weeks of the season.
One of the things that I think happens quite a bit is there's kind of this combined notion between dynasty outlooks and season-long outlooks.
Yes.
Right? And in a dynasty format, you're like, hell yeah, David Montgomery, easy 1, 2, or 3 pick, right? Directly off the board. However, in a redraft, so I had a buddy texting me throughout his draft, I think it was last Thursday, and he got to the third round. He said, well, Montgomery's next on the ESPN thing. I said, wait, just wait. Yeah, don't pull the trigger on Montgomery here in the third. If it's back to you on the wraparound and he's still there, snag him very quickly. Because I'm on the exact same wavelength as you. And that's probably because of some synergy after recording. And all I hear is like, I got the Tate on my one shoulder, the Devil on the other, and they're both chirping at me all day. The mental state is the entirely different podcast altogether. But what I believe here is that you're getting a good player. However, there's so many more defined roles and defined talents and point accumulators, which is the name of the game, available in that third round that aren't named David Montgomery.
Yeah, I just feel like he's being drafted too high. I love him as a player, and I love the Bears backfield in general. It's just I'm not willing to pay a third-round price tag. I just feel like Tariq Cohen's going to have a major part of this offense, obviously, from a pass-catching standpoint. And I think when they're down low, Mike Davis is going to score some touchdowns. So when all said and done, probably later in the year, yeah, I agree. David Montgomery is the lead dog, hands down. But I'm not paying a third round price tag for him right now. But in Dynasty, 100%, I love this kid. There's no denying the talent. It's just I'm not willing to spend a third round price tag on him right now.
Now, on the flip side, where do you like Tariq Cohen? I mean, I think that Cohen in a PPR is a great sixth round value.
Sixth round, yep.
The guy's going to probably catch somewhere around 60 to 80 balls. And in a PPR, and he's still going to see probably somewhere between 80 to 100 carries. So that's worth 6th round value to me. I think he's being slept on.
I think he is being slept on very substantially as well. So is Mike Davis.
Mike Davis isn't even getting drafted.
Yeah, but the thing is, you could just stash him. You get injuries, throw him in there for the first 4 weeks. Boom, instant points. I'm telling you, it's like one of those instant oatmeal mixes. All you got to do is heat that water and just hit that oatmeal.
Right.
I always liked it. I always liked it with the bagel bites. Throw the bagel bites in there. You only got to throw them in there for about a minute to 90 seconds, and they're good to go.
Wait, you microwave your bagel bites?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a psycho move.
Whoa,
that was when I was younger.
Tate. No, you've just outed yourself here.
You're right. I haven't had bagel bites in years.
I had bagel bites yesterday. No joke.
What? Nice.
That's awesome.
I had 18, man. 18 beers, 18 bites. That's my motto for this football season.
Those are some solid numbers, dude. If we're having a fantasy draft, Bucky's number 1 overall easily.
So yeah, bagel bites are one of the more phenomenal snacks you could eat. And I like just the pepperoni ones, but you got to put them in the oven. The fact that someone would take them and put them in a microwave and then eat them, that's disgusting. Microwave should only be used for reheating already cooked items. It should never be used for cooking anything through. That's disgusting, Tate, and I've learned a lot about you. Still love you, though.
Bagel bites are serious mouth burners, too. Those are dangerous items.
You gotta just relax and let it breathe. We got another one from Sark G here.
This is a good one.
Would you trade Mac and Lat Murray for Chris Carson? We'll go to Tate first.
I mean, the value's there. Carson and Mack at this point with no Andrew Luck for that Colts squad, even though I was higher on Mack heading into the season than I was on Chris Carson. But yeah, I mean, yes, I would trade Mack, even though I love Marlon Mack. And I still think he's going to have a good season. But Carson looks great. And
yes,
Lat Murray's going to have his own standalone value. So yes, I would pull the trigger, even though it breaks my heart to trade Marlon Mack off my squad.
I agree, though. I think Chris Carson's a league winner this year, but I don't know. I kind of feel like you should be able to trade Mack for Carson straight up, I guess, in a way. But I still think Mack's going to have a pretty good season. I mean, the offensive line is still solid.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of weapons in the pass game. So I think if Marlon Mack's going to keep slipping into the 4th round or even the 5th round, I'm taking him all day. I still feel comfortable with him.
I think there's a legitimate gap between these two.
All right.
I think Mack is substantially down on my board compared.
Yeah, Carson's going in the 3rd, Mack's slipping to the 4th now.
Well, it's just because of pure volume, right?
Yeah.
Even with Rashad Penny involved, there's more than enough touches to go around on a team that just tries to shove it down the throat.
Yeah.
I mean, so you actually have Carson higher on your board than Mack.
Way higher, like 2 rounds higher. Like I have Mack in the 5th.
I don't think you'll get Mack in the 5th. I think you're going to have to take him in the 4th.
That's probably why I won't have him.
I mean, Mack's still a damn good player and damn explosive in his own right. And that offensive line, I'm telling you, led by Quentin Nelson, they're still going to be able to run the football. It's just they're not going to be able to put up as many points, not as many scoring opportunities, which essentially makes him and Carson on a level playing field. If you get Lat Murray along with Carson, then that's why it tips the scales for me.
No, I mean he's given Mack and Lat Murray.
Yeah, you got to get both to get Carson.
Oh, Mack and Lat Murray, sorry, for Carson.
I'm okay with that because
I'm okay with it.
You're basically giving up Lat Murray for a better upgrade of your RB1.
Then I wouldn't do it.
Or RB2 if you're super stacked, which would be awesome. I mean, if you're doing this to get an RB2 in Chris Carson, I think this trade makes sense.
I still think Mack's an RB2, so no, I wouldn't.
So do I.
Yeah, but Carson is the better option, in my opinion. This is a contentious debate.
Marlon Mack versus Chris Carson. It's a good debate.
It is, but I think Carson is going to, of the 3 players, I mean, you could take Lat Murray out, but I think he adds nice depth to your fantasy roster. But I just think Carson is going to have the best fantasy season of the 3.
I agree. We got another one here from Duncan McElwinnon. What a wonderful name that is.
McElwinnon.
Love it. What are your takes on the Chiefs backfield now with Lesean McCoy there? You probably just joined us. Welcome to the show. We actually did touch on this earlier. He's a Damian and Darwin owner. Is Darwin now droppable?
We actually have, Bucky, we have the same exact question pretty much on Instagram about Darwin Thompson droppable. So continue on.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he is droppable, but it's a wait and see droppable, right? It's like, take girl on a date, you have a good time, but you're not sure there's any like compelling reason to go on the second date. But you don't like cut off all communications. You just like subtly bleed it out, like just let it go. You just let that take its course, right? And that to me is Darwin Thompson. Like you're gonna hang on to him, and then Lesean McCoy is gonna continue to get touches, and you're gonna get pissed, and then you're going to have to drop him out of circumstance. That's how I see it happening. But we just don't know enough about this backfield, Tate. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, not at all. I mean, then you're going to send Darwin Thompson the "you up" text later in like week 11 of the season.
Yep.
Shady McCoy gets hurt, and he's going to be he's already going to have moved on to another team.
Exactly. Yeah, the Buck special, the "you up."
Do not drop him yet. I would not drop him yet. It's a wait and see approach. It's too early. You're not starting Darwin Thompson, obviously, for the next 6 weeks. But yeah, you can't drop him yet. You invested in him at this point.
I think he's droppable. I mean,
really?
unless it's
he's droppable.
For who? It depends.
It depends on the league. I mean, that's completely contingent on your league. I mean, if it's a super deep, like 14 or 16 team league, yeah, sure, hold on to him. But if we're talking like 10 to 12 teams, Darwin Thompson is droppable, man.
10 teams, he should not be on your roster. Definitely, I agree with that.
It's nothing against Darwin Thompson as a player. I actually loved what I saw from him this preseason. It's just simply there's too many cooks in the kitchen there.
All right, we got another one here from Turd Ferguson, one of our finest correspondents out there on the ground. Robbie Anderson or Kenny Golladay, full point PPR. We'll go to Levy first.
I feel kind of crazy for saying this, but I'm going Bob Anderson. I'm in on Robbie Anderson this year, and I think Sam Darnold's going to take
you're off your rocker.
I know. It's people don't come here for the cheap answers.
I'm going Bob Anderson too. Better hair. Number one. Number
all
two,
hair team.
The coaches have quoted that he can run more than one route now. So knowing that the coaches have his back. And they're like, he can run 2 or 3 routes now. The route tree improvement should help production in the end.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that a professional wide receiver is capable of running more than one route. Fantastic. Well, round of applause for Robbie Anderson.
It's coach speak, Derek. It's coach speak. Let the coaches talk.
Full point PPR, the answer is easily, for me, Kenny Golladay. I mean, you're going to get volume.
Yeah.
Golladay, you can line up all over the formation. He's not a one-trick pony on the outside with his speed. He can beat you deep, but you can also line him up in the slot. He's by far the most reliable. Well, I wouldn't say by far. I like Marvin Jones. But he's still, I think, the guy that you can move around the formation the most. And traditionally, the guy that gets the highest amount of volume in a Lions offense, which I think this is going to be a bad football team. I hate to break people's heart here in northern Detroit or northern Michigan, but I think it's going to be a bad football team. I think they're going to be throwing the ball quite a bit, and Kenny Golladay is going to see consistently more volume, which I trust more in a PPR format.
Yeah, I think the easier answer here is Kenny Golladay. But, I mean, if you've got both these guys in your roster right now, I mean, just play the matchups at this point. But I really like Robbie Anderson this year. I think both of these receivers are 1,000-yard receivers this year.
I like Bob Anderson a lot. And this actually leads in perfectly to Danny Messi's question here. Bob Anderson, PhD, or D.D. Westbrook in a deep IDP league as wide receiver 2, half PPR. It's Bob Anderson for me again.
Can we just take a second to talk about tip of the hat to Danny Messi's avatar?
What is it?
Nice pick, brother. Nice pick. Oh, it's just him in a suit outside of a glass building. It's
just looking like a boss.
That's cool.
Anyway, for me, that's Robbie Anderson, even though D.D. Westbrook has jumped up my board quite a bit.
Yeah.
He has. So, I mean, what have we got? Marquise Lee, he's been dealing with injuries this preseason, and I don't really trust any other I mean, it's not that I trust D.D. Westbrook that much, but he does represent some pretty good upside, and I've seen flashes from him. I expect Nick Foles to be more consistent than everybody that was under center last year for the Jaguars. So, for me, I like Robbie Anderson more, but D.D. Westbrook is certainly in that conversation.
D.D. Westbrook is someone that no one is talking about this offseason for whatever reason, and I think he's going to be a sneaky player. Like you're going to get him as like your wide receiver 4 or 5, and I think he's going to be wide receiver 2 upside, wide receiver 3. He's a flex player this year, man. I'm telling you. Keep an eye on that guy.
So we got a couple more minutes left here, Levy. I don't know what's going on the IG live show or live stream, but we got a couple more minutes. Again, we're going to be coming at you every single Sunday with the Fantasy Focus live show, answering your questions, heading into every Sunday's action of fantasy football. Brought to you by the Original Hooters. Next week, we're going to plug it again here. Shameless plug. Bucky, Levy, they're going to be in the Chicago Hooters coming at you live. I'll be stuck here in Cadillac, Michigan, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll be at Hooters on Wells Street in downtown Chicago at 10 a.m. Central Time, 10 to 12. I'm getting all screwed up here. Now I'm on the West Coast. It's 8 a.m. here. I'll be watching football at 10 a.m. when I'm not in Chicago, so that's exciting. I'm loving it. But, yeah, we'll be at Hooters for week 1, Bucky and I. Tate will be joining on the YouTubes. Should be a good time, so looking forward to it.
Yep, cannot wait. Thank you all for joining, tuning in with us, giving us the questions, dealing with our mindless banter at times. We do appreciate all the support. We can't wait to deliver more hard-hitting questions, more hard-hitting answers to the hardest-hitting questions out there from a great group.
Yeah, guys, go ahead. Also, if you haven't yet done so, there's only one way that we can get an endless supply of Miller lattes for our boy Bucky to be able to make it through the football season, and that's if you hit that subscribe button. We do really appreciate all the supports. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here next week at, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're getting Levy up early, and, well, you guys are going to be in the shy. I'm going to be jealous, but we're coming at you next week. Until next time, later, says the Tater.
Come on, you Spurs. Beat Arsenal.
See ya.